on News X World. It's a pleasure to have you on the programme. We now move on to some more American foreign policy next, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet US President Donald Trump on December the 29th to discuss the next steps in the Gaza ceasefire, an Israeli government spokesperson has confirmed today. The talks are expected to focus on advancing the second phase of a US framework aimed at ending the war in Gaza. Netanyahu said earlier that discussions with Trump would cover unresolved issues under the ceasefire plan, which came into effect in October following intense fighting between Israel and Hamas. Since then, both sides have repeatedly accused each other of breaching the truce, highlighting its fragile nature. Key points yet to be agreed include the disarmament of Hamas, the future governance of Gaza once the war ends, and the composition on and mandate of an international stabilization force in the territory. According to the Israeli government, these issues are central to whether the ceasefire can progress beyond its current phase. Israel's Prime Minister's office said Trump formally invited Netanyahu to the White House earlier this month, although Israeli media reports suggest the meeting could also take place in Florida. We're now joined by David K. Johnston. He is an American author and he joins us live from New York. Thank you very much, David, for joining us here on News X World. Of course, phase one has been fragile to say the least. December the 29th, still a relatively long way away. As things stand, and statements, of course, made by the Qatari Prime Minister that the current ceasefire is at a breaking point. What do you think could come out of this meeting?
Well, I think Netanyahu's game here is to continue to be able to pursue his goal of removing Palestinians from Gaza, or radically diminishing their influence and their numbers there. In a way, he's following the same playbook as Vladimir Putin, who keeps talking because it allows him to continue his war of attrition. And while we call this a ceasefire, we've seen repeated incidents where the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, have killed various Palestinians, a number of those killings under what seem to be very dubious circumstances. So Netanyahu, first and foremost, wants just more time to pursue his goal of pushing away as far from Israel as he can and reducing in numbers Muslims generally, but especially Palestinians.
And what are your thoughts about the relationship between the two? There have been rumors of spats, of course, between the Israeli Prime Minister and the American President. But in the end, on a public face, the two seem to remain to be very friendly. Is this meeting about Gaza policy or about restoring their political partnership?
It's about shoring up that relationship. You know, I've spent many, many hours with Donald and negotiated with him many times as a journalist. And one of the lessons that you learn is that you have to keep flattering him. You can easily manipulate him. So long as you flatter him, you figure out what he wants to hear, and you find a way to sugarcoat what he doesn't want to hear or to eliminate it from the conversation. So Netanyahu is basically managing Trump, who is generally going to be supportive of whatever Netanyahu wants to do. But Donald also believes that everyone else is inferior to him, and they need to treat him as this special person who's the only one who should run things.
Okay, David, do stay with us for our next story as we move on. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says ideas of white racial